Today, we are diving deep into a massive 10 billion euro deal that's set to really shake up the world of tech. We're going to look at how and why TSMC, which is pretty much the most important chip maker on the planet, is building a brand new factory right in the heart of Europe. And, what that really means for everyone. Okay, so our story really starts right here with this scene of a total industrial crisis. We're in 2021 and Germany's powerhouse auto industry, the absolute backbone of their economy, it just grinds to a halt. The production lines for some of the world's most famous car brands just went quiet. And it wasn't because people stopped buying cars. Nope, it was because of a lack of something else entirely. But the reason for all that silence? It's probably not what you're thinking. This wasn't a shortage of those super advanced cutting-edge processors that power our smartphones or the latest AI. The real culprit was something way, way less glamorous. Yeah, this whole crisis was called the Great Chip Famine, and it's an incredible story of how just a few dollars worth of silicon managed to bring a multi-trillion-dollar global industry to its knees. And here is the big twist. The problem wasn't a lack of the fancy, high-tech chips. Not at all. The real culprits were these sort of unglamorous, older workhorse chips. The ones that control all the basic stuff, like your windshield wipers, your braking system, or fuel injection. Car makers had always treated these things like cheap, simple commodities. And then, all of a sudden, they were just gone. So how on earth did this even happen? Well, it was a perfect storm, really. At the start of the pandemic, car makers panicked and cut their chip orders way back. But then, demand for cars snapped back way faster than anyone expected. Meanwhile, everyone stuck at home started buying new laptops and game consoles, and those companies basically gobbled up all the available chip factory capacity. Then you throw in a huge fire at a key car chip factory in Japan, a deep freeze in Texas that shut down other plants, and just total chaos in global shipping, and boom, you've got a crippling bottleneck. The damage was just immense. A staggering 83% of German auto companies were affected. For them, it was the worst component shortage they'd seen in 30 years. At the same time, the prices for some of these basic chips just went through the roof, skyrocketing 500%. For Europe's biggest economy, this wasn't just some supply chain headache. It was a huge, glaring strategic vulnerability. And that brings us to the solution. In response to this crisis, TSMC, the undisputed titan of chip manufacturing, announced this massive new project in Dresden, Germany, a region often called Silicon Saxony. Honestly, you should think of it as a very, very expensive insurance policy. The project even has a name, the European Semiconductor Manufacturing Company, or ESMC for short. It's a 10 billion euro joint venture. That is a colossal investment, and it's all designed to bring this critical chip production directly onto European soil. Now, the way this is owned is actually really clever. TSMC holds the controlling 70% stake, so they are firmly in the driver's seat. But look at the partners, Bosch, Infineon, and NXP. They aren't just random investors. They're Europe's biggest automotive chip suppliers, and they're going to be the factory's main customers. It's a brilliant move that basically secures demand from day one. So, what is this factory actually going to make? Well, not the most advanced, bleeding-edge chips you'd find in the latest iPhone. Instead, its focus is tailored specifically to what Europe's industry needs, those exact workhorse chips for cars and machinery. We're talking microcontrollers, power management chips, sensors, precisely the kinds of components that disappeared back in 2021. And this quote from the CEO of Bosch really sums it all up perfectly. This isn't just about building one factory. It's about securing the entire local supply chain. It's basically an admission that for any modern industry, having chip production nearby is no longer a nice to have. It's an absolutely critical necessity. So, it's a great idea, right? But a 10 billion euro factory doesn't just appear out of thin air. This entire deal was only made possible because of a massive strategic push and a huge amount of public money from Europe itself. This timeline really shows you just how fast things moved once that crisis hit. The 2021 famine was a massive wake-up call. By 2022, the EU had a whole new policy, the European Chips Act. By 2024, the money was approved, and by 2027, this factory is expected to be up and running. That is lightning speed for a project of this scale. And now for the most crucial ingredient of all, the money. A jaw-dropping 5 billion euros. That is the public subsidy coming from the German government with the EU's blessing to make this whole project a reality. Let's be clear, without this cash, the deal simply does not happen. To put that number in perspective for you, European taxpayers are footing half the bill for the entire factory. A 50% subsidy sounds massive, and it is. But in this new era of what people are calling chip nationalism, where countries like the US and Japan are also throwing billions around, this has basically become the price of entry if you want to attract the world's top chipmaker. And it all serves this one big headline goal. The European Chips Act wants to reverse decades of decline and double Europe's slice of the global chip market to 20% by the year 2030. It's an incredibly ambitious target, and this TSMC deal in Dresden it's the absolute cornerstone of that entire strategy. But this factory isn't just about cars or economics. To really get why this is so important, we have to zoom out and look at the global geopolitics of silicon. This one factory is a really key piece on a much, much bigger chessboard. At the very center of all this is a concept called the silicon shield. For decades, the theory has gone something like this. Since the entire world depends on Taiwan for the most advanced computer chips, no country would ever risk disrupting that supply. It's a kind of technological deterrence. The source of that shield is this one simple fact. TSMC, based in Taiwan, produces the overwhelming majority of the world's most powerful, most cutting-edge semiconductors. That incredible concentration of power in one small place is both a huge strength and, a massive risk for the entire global economy. And this leads us to a really critical paradox. If TSMC is building these huge new factories in the US, in Japan, and now in Europe, does that dilute Taiwan's unique importance? Does it actually weaken the very silicon shield that has helped keep it safe for so long? This right here reveals TSMC's incredibly careful balancing act. Step 1, expand into friendly allied nations. Step 2, use those overseas factories to produce important but not bleeding-edge chips. And then step 3, this is the most crucial part, keep the absolute best, the next-generation technology, exclusively at home in Taiwan. It's a strategy where allies get their supply security, but Taiwan remains absolutely irreplaceable. Which leaves us with this final, critical question. With this €10 billion deal, is Europe truly securing its own technological future? Is it building real sovereignty? Or is it spending $5 billion in taxpayer money to become a highly valuable but ultimately dependent outpost in TSMC's global tech empire? The answer to that is going to shape the future of technology for decades to come.